Welcome back, everyone. We have a great guest. We have Ardek from Carach Angren. How are you doing?
Great, great. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
It's great to have you, man. Let's get into this. I read with this concept. You have tried writing this before. With this concept, do you have were any of these like older songs that you wrote, or are all these new?
They are all new, yeah. So, I mean, depending on what you call new, we have been working on it quite some time. So, some I already started working on like in 2021, but yeah, in the sense they're all new after our latest release, Frankenstein, before. Yeah, so in that sense, yes.
And for you, do you have like a lot of like, because I know Dennis does the singing, but do you do a lot of the writing of the lyrics also? Is it just him?
On this one, I did also a lot, yeah. So it depends. Like, I had some kind of idea for this one that there was a cult, like trying to resurrect, like the ghost of Kariba in that sense. And so I started writing like Draw Blood and the intro I wrote and the last song. And he came in with the Dutch song Ik kom uit het graf and part of the resurrection of Kariba we wrote together. So there's a nice blend and yeah, so that's kind of cool.
That's pretty cool. And I know a lot of people before they come up with the actual track names, they have different names for each one. Did you guys have something like that? Or same with the name of the record? Did you guys have something before that?
No, it actually came naturally. Like as soon as I started thinking of the cult, and then we had this. Dennis came with Kariba, and then yeah, it sort of naturally came the cult of Kariba, Kariba's cult. Then I had like Venomous because like of the poisonous witch, and he found out that something happened in the town in 1660.
Mm.
So then he changes to 1666, and we added that to Venomous, and so it's like during the process it sort of happened naturally. And Ik kom uit het graf was pretty clear. Like he had those lyrics or the idea for the lyrics for quite some time. So yeah, it was a
Yeah.
natural process. Yeah.
That's crazy. Because I know you guys have done concept records your guys' whole entire career. How do you guys come up with the concept in general? Do you guys like talk about it on tour? Is it just something you guys have like ideas of?
Yeah, I mean, we talk a lot. Like we call like a couple of times every week, or sometimes it's a bit longer in between. But we're always talking about ideas and like movies we see. So this is like a hobby of us. Like it's always been like we are fans of horror, we are fans of stories. So this is not something we have to really sit down and force ourselves to do. So we just like this stuff, and we also take our time to do it very well. Like it took some time to get this out, but we have the bar very high. Like we these songs like they are like the best we can do, and but it's natural to us. And even if no one would listen to it, we would probably still do it because when we started in like 2003 already, like no one knew about us. Like we were just like hanging, but it was the same as now. We're still hanging out and like doing this stuff. And then when we're done, usually it's like sometimes it's years before release or at least months. Like we are happy with it. We're listening to it ourselves. Like yes, you know this part, and we're calling and like celebrating it, so to speak. And then of course we're super grateful that we have so many fans and people liking it. But that came you afterwards, so we never take that for granted because you never know. You can make something and you can be happy with it, and no one likes it. You have to always separate those things. Yeah.
Agreed. And like I said, concept records. What's your approach writing each song? Do you guys go in order of the story, or do you kind of like have like, well, I kind of see this as the ending or something like that?
It's a good question. Usually that's like it's also during the process. I think the Resurrection was one of the first songs I had, and then Draw Blood as well. And then I think the intro came, for example, a couple of years later. I was doing, I was writing three or four of these orchestral pieces, and this one I liked the most, and I sort of kept it apart. It had this kind of Silence of the Lambs kind of vibe, like intimate and scary at the same time, not super epic. And then like yeah, like during the process you start to decide like I wrote the lyrics for Draw Blood, and it was like, okay, this could be like a sacrifice, and it could be something at the beginning of the record where the listener learns, like, okay, something's terribly wrong. So then naturally you put that song before. And then the resurrection came, like it's more of the historical part of Kariba. And then we had this odd song, the Dutch one, that first didn't really fit, and then it was like, okay, it does fit because this can be one of her attackers that came back from the grave. So it's funny that sometimes we write things that seem like miles apart, and then somehow we can tie them together in the story. Yeah, it's like a creative path, and we don't stop before we are like done, and we don't force it. We never force it. Like,
And with you saying that, like, because you're like saying at one point one of the songs didn't work, but then you're like, well, it's one of our attackers that came back. Was there any songs that you guys did write for this well EP that didn't make it on that you guys could see yourself using maybe for something else?
not really, but I think I write a lot. I write all the time for different things, and I think there's at least 4 or 5 like pieces that I have that just are not good enough. But it usually starts like that. I make something and then send it, and I listen to it, and then so naturally there's always a lot of stuff that never even makes it into consideration. So maybe if someone would hear it, it would be like, oh, that's kind of cool, or like. But with every album we have that. But it's even not even in the back of my mind anymore. It's just that you ask about it, that I thought, oh yeah, there was this part and that, and like. But we felt from the beginning that this could be only an EP because we already have Lammendam,
Mhm.
and then this is sort of like tying into that story, and it felt weird to do like a whole full length again. It would be too long. So from the very first moments we thought like this is going to be an EP, and some people during the process have urged us like, why don't you just add a couple of songs, make it into an album? But yeah, we didn't have the material story wise. It would be like filler. It would like, okay, we extend this a bit, and so that felt wrong. And we are not that band that sort of like, okay, let's push something in. But I underestimated that people think of an EP as something not so serious because a lot of people are like, it's just an EP, it's just an EP. But for us, it was actually just as much work as an album, maybe even more because you have to. It's more compact, so everyone's looking at these songs like super like it's like super condensed. It's like if one of those songs wouldn't work, the whole EP would maybe suffer. So for us, and like there's artwork, there's a video clip, all of that is the same as for an album. So, but I do get that some bands, for example, make an EP and they put a bunch of remixes and stuff. So I think that's why EP sort of has a bad name to
Hmm,
it.
I agree.
For us, this feels like a short album. So yeah,
Well, I think a lot of people don't get you guys that because I've seen you guys live. You guys actually go into like it's like watching a whole story, the whole entire show, and not just that. When I'm assuming when you guys go in the studio, there's layers of layers of layers on top of everything, like how it is live. So I don't think
yeah,
a lot of people get that that's what goes into what you guys do live or even with recording, you know?
yeah, yeah. There's like if I look at some of the songs, it's like hundreds of tracks. It doesn't mean that everything's playing all the time, but there was like a lot of details, like sounds, like a lot of sounds I built up from the ground, like with my voice, like put it through a synthesizer, put another effect, and it's like crazy stuff, but it's like what I love to do. And so yeah, you're right. Like I mean, not everyone's interested in that, of course, and it's about the end product. But if you would like take the whole thing apart, it's like huge stuff, like so crazy. Yeah,
And with you talking about having like hundreds of things on there and not all of it playing at the same time, a lot of songs translate differently live compared to recording. You
yeah.
guys are a band that puts on a show and has a lot of layers live compared to same thing with your recording. Was it hard making these translate live? Because I know you guys did a tour and I'm assuming you played a few of the tracks already. Was it hard making those translate live compared to recording?
Well, I have always been keyboard player. Like I used, like in my previous bands, or even in the beginning of Carach, I used to have like a lot of ego attached to the performance. So I had like 3 or 4 keyboards. Like I wanted to play everything live, and it was crazy because like I had to like program them during the songs. It's like okay, trombones, horns, now this coming, and I was not really into the show. But at some point, when we started like making albums, and it's basically orchestra score, so there's like yeah hundreds and of these plays, so there's no way I could play it live, and if I would play everything live it would suffer. So what I've done with all the songs is that I made a separation, like with the background stuff and the lead keyboards in this sense. So I play all the time, and I play piano parts, and I play a lot. But a lot of it is all some of it's also backdrop in that sense. I think that's cool. Yeah.
And with you guys already doing a tour, and I know you guys are doing a bunch of festivals, with coming up with a set list, because you guys are, I've seen you, like I said, a few times. You guys never have done the same set list, it seems like, which is cool on tours. With you guys coming out this one and talking about the first record, are you guys going to try to tie some songs in together on the set list?
That's a cool idea. I haven't thought about it in that sense, but it would be kind of cool. Yeah, yeah. We always try to mix it up, but it's also practicality. Sometimes you don't have a lot of time to to practice or to. Well, yeah, like for example, when we have to do a new song now, or when we have to do another old song, that literally means I have to dive in days to create the backing tracks and get the old projects up, and so it's a lot of work and. So we tend to mix or include a couple of new songs and change some things, but not a lot. And there are some songs we always play. We have been playing them forever, and it's kind of like favorites of ourselves and also like the fans. But yeah, it's an interesting idea. Maybe we'll do that, what you said.
And is there any songs that you haven't played live or have played like little that you would love to play live and add them to the set list a little more?
Well, there's like the Funeral Dirge of a Violinist. We played them in the beginning of the Where the Corpses Sing Forever release. And then some years later, we played it again, and it was actually kind of cool. So I think it would be nice to bring that one back at some point again. It was fun to play. Like it's a bit slow, but it's very long, but and people love it. So I think that would be cool.
And do you have a favorite one you like playing live?
My favorite.
Yeah.
Wow,
Like that's hard, huh?
it's hard. Like I really like Operation Compass. We have been playing that one live a lot, and Frankensteina because it's short and it's very catchy. Yeah, I like all of them. Like Strange Presence Near the Woods is crazy to play for me live. So like a lot of stuff going on. Yeah.
And I see you guys are gonna do a ton of festivals because I was in the email I got. With seeing that, do you see yourself like trying to stay with the same set list with how much it goes into it, or do you see you mixing up a little bit, or for especially from the tour you just came off of?
I think for the summer we'll do like a similar set list for all of them. It depends also on the playtime. That's also the challenge. Sometimes you have 40 minutes, sometimes an hour. Now we did like 75 minutes, was pretty long in Asia. But I think usually going into the summer, because you also have to think about everyone's schedules and what people can do. Like if suddenly they have to practice 7 or 8 songs new, that's going to take a toll on their preparation. And if someone is on another tour as a job, so. But I think for the summer we'll definitely include some new songs, and yeah, and then we'll take some old ones out, and we'll see. Yeah.
And do you prefer playing festivals? Do you like touring more? What's your preference?
Well, they both have their ups and downs, and festivals are cool. It's like there's always a nice atmosphere, and you have a chance to meet other bands that we've been friends with for a long time. So that's also very cool. There's kind of a celebratory atmosphere usually at festivals. But it's also for festivals, it's a lot of traveling usually, like sometimes 2, 3 days for yeah, 40, sometimes 40 minutes of playing. And with a tour, you're like more into this vibe, like every day or every other day. And but then, yeah, it's also we did a tour now, but that was actually flying, playing, hotel, flying, playing, bus. So that's also crazy. So they both have their advantages.
Do you find it harder with doing what you just said, flying, than playing, flying, especially because you guys seem like you guys carry a lot of gear with you guys?
It's actually pretty compact these days. We've become smaller and smaller with gear, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, like lately, like I myself, and Dennis too, like we don't really mind so much the lack of sleep, and we we just keep going. But I think it's because we're so into it. But like, yeah, some guys and all those, like if you have crew people, like, and we're getting older, you also take into consideration some of the schedules. Like, it's different when you're like 20. And it's the first time you're going tour, and it's the first time you're going in the studio, and you can do whatever you want. But now we're older, done it a couple of times, and then you have to take care of your team and people as well. So whenever it's possible, try to do a little bit of a human schedule, and but not everyone is as good at it. But yeah, I mean, I still like it. And for example, I came back now, I still have jet lag, and sometimes sometimes it's horrible. But yeah, I don't complain too much myself, and it's just part of it. And yeah, it's part of the deal, I think. Yeah.
I agree. And what do you find the most challenging things of touring?
Um, Touring in general is very challenging because everything can go wrong, and sometimes a lot of things can go wrong. For example, now in the preparation of Asia, we had like everyone had to get visas. So it was like with management working together, I was like preparing for the guys, filling in all the forms. It's horrible, like, and it has become more horrible compared to years ago. Every country is trying to vet now more intense for some reason. Everyone is like, so that takes weeks, and like, and you have to go to the embassy, and then you have to send your passport and wait, and like it's a whole dramatic thing. And then one of the guys got the passport back literally one day before we went. So you know, you're like, I was trying to sleep but not like freak out because it could mean that the whole tour would be jeopardized. And then this tour was amazing, but sometimes on tour things happen, bus break down, people get sick, gear gets lost, everything happens. But throughout the years, I just have learned to relax and just think like, you know, it's part of it, and you do the best you can. But sometimes you're just freaking out, like, because it's great. It's not like a normal office job when you drive 10 minutes to your job and there is your office and then you sit down. Like, this is a whole operation, and there's a lot of people helping and working on it. And from the outside, it can look sometimes very simple, like, oh, you go to the venue, there's the band, they play, and you go home. But it's a whole undertaking, yeah. But it's kind of cool. I mean, I never take it for granted that we are able to do this. So.
Well, I think a lot of people don't understand what it actually is to be in a band. Like, they go to a show, they think that, oh, they just set up. It was nothing. Like with you guys, like you have, what I've seen is, I remember when I saw you and I think 18, I mean, and probably the next time I think it was like 21, you guys,
Yeah,
you had a keyboard that moved while you're playing. A lot of people don't get it. It goes into like a whole situation, and it
yeah.
takes a lot of preparation and sound check and all of that just to get it all correct, you know, because it could malfunction while you're playing live.
That was crazy. That robot we rented was, my brother had access to it, but that robot alone was like almost 25,000 cost. But we rented it cheap, but it's that word. And then we had to send it to the US via customs, and it came in and something was broken. So we had to find a replacement part, and like it was hell, like in the end. But I mean, we're proud that in the end you watch on YouTube and you hear back like what you say now, that people appreciated it. But sometimes I've learned in recent years, sometimes it's also not worth it, like to do all this production, because like things break and you lose a bunch of money, and it's like, so sometimes it's also good to have a compact setup. But
Is
yeah,
that, is that what you do with like the US nowadays compared to in 18? Because dude, you guys had a whole setup. You guys had like a lot of production.
yeah,
It was pretty cool. You guys even had like a fence that went with you guys.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I'm going to be honest, like looking back, like it was awesome, but it also cost a lot in not money only, but also energy and in the band. Like I know my brother was, for example, he was very keen on all of that production stuff, and me too. But at the end, sometimes you cannot bring it. We had to do a lot of fights, like at festivals. We were fighting. Like people would say, like, you can bring it, and then we would bring the whole thing, and they would say last minute, no, it's not allowed. And then why? Yeah, we don't want it. And we would fight like with management on the phone, and we would fight for hours to make it happen. And but at the end of the day, you start to get like a negative vibe around the show when you always have to like push so hard to make things happen. So that's why we took some of the stuff like down a notch, you know, like because. But it's yeah, it's a balance. Sometimes you just want to do it, but it's not easy. No.
And I
Yeah.
love I love asking bands. You've been on tour a bunch. Do you have any tour rituals or do you have any like rider requests that you have on tour?
We have a pretty normal rider, like some drinks, some food, and it's pretty. I think I've seen some other riders. It's nothing crazy. No, and like what you were saying before is that like for a lot of people, like when the show is happening, it's their special day. It's like a Friday night, and they go out and they want to party. And the thing is, for us, that's every day. So I tend to not party. Like I also don't drink alcohol. Like I just have my coffee and I take things pretty easy. And Dennis as well these days. Like I think that's important to have fun and to also be for it to be possible. Like if you, I think if you go down the party path too hard and you go too crazy, it's gonna be hard to maintain it. So we are pretty like easygoing guys. It's pretty boring at times. Yeah,
And then you guys always wear the corpse paint on
yeah,
stage. With you putting that on, does that get you into your character immediately? Do you take like an hour of your time to like get into the character you are on stage compared to just being regular you?
yeah. I think I mean it's like we have been doing this forever, so it's a natural part of it. But yeah, definitely it helps. Like you put on the costume and you start putting the paint, and yeah, that gets you into the mood, of course. Funny story is that we played in Beijing now, and 2 days before the show, the government informed us we couldn't wear corpse paint, else the show wouldn't happen. And we had never done that. Like in 22 years, we have never played without corpse paint. And so, yeah, we talked about it at Dennis. It's like, yeah, we have to do it because it's part of the tour and the whole thing. So we actually did it without corpse paint. And the funny thing is, like, half the people in the audience were corpse painted, but it's just the government was very strict and was not allowed. And we were talking to each other after the show, like, yeah, it was super weird. Like, the whole ritual before and also after, you don't have to take it off. It was also easy, but we missed it a lot. Like, it was not the same. Yeah.
That's funny as fuck. Another thing I love asking bands is you tour a lot. You guys go to a lot, like a lot of people have food places they love to eat on tour. Do you have a favorite one and what's your order?
Good question. I think it's different for everyone. Like, I think Dennis is really into the burger scene and stuff. Like, I like to mix it up. For example, now in China, the food was amazing. They had like super much healthy options, and they took us to restaurants and so it was really incredible. Um, yeah, I think for me personally, I like to have some kind of healthy food at least once a day, just because else you're not able to continue. Like if you eat too bad all the time, you start feeling bad and tired and like yeah. But I don't have very specifics, no.
And as a band that tours a lot, do you have a dream tour lineup that you haven't done yet?
I don't think so. I don't like. I don't think a lot about these things actually. Like, I think for me, the most important thing is like when we tour with bands is that you get along.
Mhm.
Like, I like to tour with we did a lot of tours with Rolling Christ, for example. It's amazing, amazing guys, super easy. And for me, that's like dream tours, like when things are easy, because you can be touring with maybe a very big band, for example, or something like that. But if they treat you like shit, yeah, it's gonna suck. And when you're on the road like 4 or 5 weeks, it's very important that people are chill and that they get along and that they understand what's happening. Like sometimes you are with bands that it's their first time on a tour, and I understand that too, but it can also be heavy sometimes. Like people don't understand what's happening. They go completely drunk all the time, or they forget things, or they, yeah, and then sometimes you hear like from local bands or like that people treat them bad, or but you also have to understand like when you're on the road all the time and it's your job and like it's like a machine you set up. Like what I really don't like, for example, is like when you tour with bands that do like sound checks forever. Like we are pretty sure, like we check it. I sometimes press two keys. It's like it's working. Okay, we play a little bit of a song if possible. But there are other bands like they sound check for hours,
That's
and they play and they do this and that, and I'm like, dude, like why? Why do you have to do this? Because everyone's in the venue, and it's like every day we have to listen to this.
That would be very intense and crazy. I don't. I would be like, dude, do you not get it? We have like, you just do a couple keys and like half of a song. You're good. You don't have to do hours. You're good.
Yeah, yeah. And I like that some bands are like us, it's like 5 minutes and like it's a check and we go out and we go see something in the city or we're gonna just sleep or we're gonna do something else. But not every band is like that. And but I like the bands who are like focused and like easygoing.
And what's your favorite thing to like? Well, actually, do you have like a favorite city you like to go to and visit and explore more of each tour?
Um, I like all places, at least where you can see something. Like whenever there's a moment, I like to go to a museum or something, or to see something. At least take a little walk, because um, the risk is that you get like, like complacent in the sense that I'll just hang in the bus, I'll just wait until sound check. I'll be on my phone, and before you know, your tour experience is just like a chain of backstage areas. And at least for me, that can become boring, because there's like a lot of places we've seen like 7 or 8 times already, and it's just the same. So it's like, here's a green room, the same chair, and the same process. So I just try to take a walk and see something at least
Right.
to break the pattern. I think it's important for me personally.
I agree. And you guys, for me, are one of the bands known for symphonic black metal. In your opinion, what bands shaped that subgenre?
Yeah, the early days you had Cradle, Demu. They were like at the start of it. Yeah, those were the biggest ones, I think. Um, yeah, and then it was actually interesting when we started, like the whole scene was sort of coming down also from the corpse paint thing. Like I remember when we were starting, like even friends and people were like, "Why are you putting corpse paint? No one's doing that anymore. It's over. Like it's ridiculous." But we just liked it. We kept going. And it's like I remember like met some guys like, "Why are you playing this music? Like what? It's never gonna work out." And like we like it. We just want to do this. And we were like playing local bars, 2004, things like that. Every weekend we tried to do into contests and like metal battles, things like that. So around that time, it was sort of after the peak of that first wave, I think. And yeah, no one was really into it back then. And now you see sort of a resurrection again. Like, I mean, there's so much stuff nowadays, and old bands coming back, and it's interesting. Yeah,
Must be cool. Since we're getting like low on time, where can everyone keep up with you and find this new brand fantastic EP?
I think yeah, Season of Mist website. We have our own merch store online. It's carachangrenstore.com. That's where you can buy exclusive merch, t-shirts, and the album. And you can find us on socials, of course, a website. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for giving me your time. I know you're jet lagged and everything.
It's getting better today, so but thanks a lot. Yeah, thanks for having me, and it was great.